Hello, welcome to Statecraft IAS and Social Perspectives Sociology in Newspaper series. In this series, we shall discuss daily news articles in sociological perspective and revise relevant sociology related UPSC mains concepts with the help of a newspaper on daily basis. In today's video, we have an article in the editorial page talking about school children and the need for them to go to schools in the context of COVID-19 pandemic and the subsequent lockdowns. Now this need about school children going to schools and education, there are many articles coming around during these days about the education and social change and need to go to schools. So in our sociology syllabus also, that particular topic, that is education and social change topic, is highly important for our exam this year and we need to make good notes out of it. So let us look into the contents of the article. Now this particular topic, that is education and social change, under that we have perspectives on education and social change in our sociology syllabus. We have Sumner talking about education, Durkheim talking about education, and Parsons. All these are hailing education and schools, positive aspect. But on the other hand, we have feminists like Macrobian, Sweeney, Paul Willis criticizing education. This is criticism. And moreover, we have neo-Marxists like Althusser, Bolusen, Gintis, Ivan Illich also criticizing education in Marxist perspective. We have others also criticizing education and schools like Raymond Bodon, Pierre Bourdieu, Sally Tomlinson, etc. Now going into the contents of the article, here it is said, there is indeed some basis to the old joke that Indian parents have a razor sharp focus on academics and want their children to be a doctor or an engineer. Now, is this what the real purpose of education? That means wanting the children to be a doctor or an education. However, we have Raymond Bourdieu criticizing education in saying, role of education in providing avenues for social mobility is not very significant. Now here we have others saying that Indian parents want their children to be a doctor or an engineer. That means want their children to move from lower stratum of society to higher status, to attain vertical mobility. But we have Raymond Bodon criticizing education, that a role of education in providing avenues for social mobility is not very significant, says Raymond Bodon. Also, real purpose of education, it is lamented by Sally Tomlinson, saying that education is being reduced as a means of economic development. That is what exactly is happening here. Parents wanting their children to earn their livelihoods, wanting their children to earn big, to be better placed in the social stratum or social hierarchy. All this, they think people are underthinking and underestimating the purpose of education in terms of only merely economic development. That's why Sally Tomlinson criticized education as it is being reduced as a means of economic development. Further, we have academic results in the higher grades are important, as the author says, to determine colleges and professions, and for many Indians a chance at a better life. But we have Ivan Illich saying that in his book Deschooling Society, written in 1971, pupil confuses teaching with learning, grades advancement with education, and a diploma with competence. See, here also that same confusion is happening. The author says higher grades are important, but is that the real education is, or the other two confusing grades with education? So Ivan Illich's criticism is highly relevant here. We should not confuse grades with education. Grades are just grades, according to Ivan Illich. Further, let us not lose sight of the importance of education in the younger years, as well as the overall purpose of education. In-person school education teaches children to share, wait for their turn, negotiate and compromise. By depriving them of social contact, we are depriving them of essential learning and development. Now what this essential learning is, we have Sumner saying about it. He says, transmission of the modes of the group to the child. This is essential learning. Learning what is approved and what is not in the society. This is essential learning. How to behave in all kinds of cases. What is ought to be believed and respected. This is essential learning, and this kind of essential learning comes only with schooling. because only in schools they interact with each other and interact with their teachers, interact with their peer groups, etc. And in that sense, in that manner only, socialization happens and children learn how to behave in society, because schools are miniature societies. By getting accustomed to behavior in schools, they learn how to behave in societies also. So this is said by Durkheim. So how to behave in society is essential learning, and this essential learning comes only with schooling. Hence Sumner's theory is highly relevant here. We have some new point written by our author, that for children from economically weak backgrounds, schools are a key source of nutrition. Now with this particular point, we already know that schools are key sources of nutrition, but in sociological perspective, schools are highly relevant for not only economic mobility from lower stratum to higher stratum, but also in the health perspective. Schools reproduces or strengthens the individual by improving socio-economic indicators in the context of not just education but also health, by providing essential nutrition. Further, for many children, particularly those who do not have educated parents or cannot afford home tutors, the denial of education results in learning losses and ultimately denial of chance to earn a livelihood. That's why we have Durkheim saying education is a socialization of younger generation. By denial of education, we deny them nothing but their own livelihood. Now whether or not education is only way to give livelihood, that is criticized by many critics, but education is the essential part of earning livelihood. We should not merely look into that as an economic means of development, but we should also look into that as something as some source which teaches children how to behave in society. That means essential learning is given to them. With that essential learning, if not they choose a career based on their education, but they will be able to choose some other career which has no dependence on education also. So in that sense, education indirectly gives mobility to the children, if not through the education but through some other means also. So that's all we have in this article in social perspective. Now moving on to the next article. Here we have Mayawati saying or watching for OBC census. She says Bahujan Samaj Party chief Mayawati has demanded that a caste census for the other backward castes be done. On Thursday, she said the BSP had always raised the demand. If the central government takes a positive step in this regard, the BSP would support the move in and outside parliament, she said. Now this caste census, Mayawati, that means BSP chief, a politician is watching for caste census and reminding of and enforcing caste consciousness in the society. This is why Andhra Patel criticized politics in our chapter Caste and Society. Andhra Patel says it is because of politics only caste is still relevant in the society. So, but we have Joseph Tharamangalam criticizing Andhra Patel, saying that it is not just politics but violence, system of violence and deprivation, endemic deprivation, both these things are reinforcing caste consciousness in the society, according to Joseph Tharamangalam. On the other hand, this particular caste census topic, if we look in the Durkheim's perspective, what this caste census does, it provides clear data of how many people are about the population of castes. With that data, governments will be able to devise policies that empower social castes, lower castes, by providing reservations. This kind of reservations is positive discrimination, and we have in our Article 15 also supporting this kind of positive discrimination, because this kind of positive discrimination eliminates inequalities in opportunity. Inequalities in opportunity can be eliminated because of this kind of positive discrimination, and if that inequalities of opportunity are eliminated, what happens? Forced division of labor does not arise in the society. This is what is the primary concern of Durkheim. He says it is because of forced division of labor only social cohesion will be set back and it will undermine social solidarity. Now this, if so, forced division of labor is prevented by preventing inequalities in opportunity by providing positive discrimination, we can ensure social solidarity. In Durkheim's perspective, we can ensure social solidarity because of caste census. So, on one hand, we have Andrew Bettel, thinkers like Andrew Bettel saying this caste census and all these things, they are doing nothing but they are reinforcing caste consciousness in the society. But on the other hand, we have the thinkers like Durkheim saying, because of caste consciousness, caste census, inequalities in opportunity can be eliminated, which ensures social solidarity in the society. So that's all we have for today. If you like the content, please like, share and subscribe to Statecraft IS. If you have any comments or criticisms, or if you have anything to say, please comment and let me know in the comment section. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.